Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. First of all, Kitchener Singh is my #1 fan, but I'm a little worried he might get a little too close to Tara, and given how many Singhs it took to get the projector up and running, I don't want to delay things more. So, welcome to Waterloo Camp. This is the 10-year camp? Who's been coming every year for 10 years now? Oh, come on, you guys aren't even 10 years old. Huh? You're 10 years old, but have you been coming every year? Yeah? That's pretty impressive, because I came, I think it's been probably 7 or 8 years since I came. It's been a long time since I've come. And since that time, I'm actually, we have a family now, so that's why Mohkam Singh and Sahib Singh are here with me. Good. Just Kulvir Ji had a really good announcement at the beginning. He said, no fighting, no swearing, no running around, right? Being nice to each other. Do you think that's a rule only for the kids? Or maybe that should be a rule for the grown-ups too in a Gurudwara? Right? I think it's probably a rule that most of us grown-ups should probably be following in a Gurudwara too. So I'm going to talk, present, share a few stories, talk about different things. I have a feeling, how many of you are under the age of, how many of you are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old? Physically, not mentally. That's a different story. Okay. So I have a feeling as we go on, it'll probably, if I'm talking for about an hour or so in a bit, the youngest kids may start drifting off a bit, which is totally fine. That's the 3 or 4 year olds. So if you find that, maybe we can have them go and they can maybe have lunch early or they can play or something so that they're not going to be disruptive. I'll try to keep them engaged as long as possible, but if I was a 4-year-old, I probably couldn't sit here for very long either. So with that, I want everybody, can we get started? Okay, I want everybody to close their eyes. I want you to close your eyes for a second, and I want you to think about God. Whatever God means to you, however God's been told to you, defined to you, not what Sikhi says about God, or what your school says, or what your teacher said, or what your parents said, but you thinking of God. I want you to think of God, and I want you to think about where God is. Where is God? Where does God exist? What does God look like? Does God have a form? Does God have maybe a gender? God has a name? What are all the different ways that you think of God? Okay, open your eyes. So, where is God? Where do we usually think God is? Yeah, but where do we usually look up? Where do we usually go? We look at the sky. There we go. How many of you thought of the sky, the clouds, a little bit about where God is, right? We all do that. Even in Punjabi, we can upar wale nu darya kar, right? Upar wale to darya kar. We think God, we put God up there, right? We think God is up in the heavens, in the sky, out there, watching everyone. Yes, watching everyone, looking down on everybody, right? That's how many of us think of God, right? And when you said God, do we think of God usually as a he or a she or an it? What do we usually say? We usually say he, right? We usually think God is a he, lives up in the heavens. And is God a baby? God an old man? God a young man? What do we usually think of? God is a old man with a even whiter beard than mine is, right? Long white beard, and his old wise man that thinks up in the heavens. So how many of you ever watched The Simpsons? Most of you are probably too young to watch The Simpsons. I know I'm above. We watched The Simpsons. We watched a lot of Simpsons growing up. Arvinder Singh probably memorized every line of The Simpsons over there. I grew up in The Simpsons, and The Simpsons actually had a God. So when I thought of God, this is the God you usually think of, right? You think of this God that's up in the heavens. He's wearing a long white robe. He's got a beard. He's a wise old man. And he's he's there to bless us. And he's there to take care of us, and he's watching everything we do. He knows if you've been naughty, he knows if you've been nice, right? Is that how we think of God usually? And if he's not this kind of really happy, kind of blessing guy, loving guy, he lives in a place like this, right? And we go up there, and one day we'll go up these steps, and God will judge us, right? You've been good, you've been bad. And based on that, something's going to happen to us. Right? We'll go to a good place, we'll go to a bad place. And when you watch that TV show called The Good Place, there's actually a medium place in that show, which is kind of not good, kind of not bad. But you go somewhere afterwards. So there's all this physical place. We think of all this stuff here. So that's not Sikhi. But in many ways, that's how we've grown up because of the culture around us, because of all the other religions around us. We think of heaven, we think of hell. So what I want you to do now, I'm going to show a little movie, and there's a contest here. I want you to see if you can find where God is. I want you, if you can find God, find where he lives, find where he looks like, and point. And if it does, point and stop and say, there, I see God right there. Okay? Ready to watch this? Let's see if this works. Anyone see God? Anyone see a man sitting there on a throne, looking down, blessing some people, punishing some people? So how many stars were there? Like 5? How many? 6. What's the biggest number you know? A bazillion. 10. Google's actually a number, right? Yes. There are millions or billions of stars. Each one of them there's even more planets around all of them. All of them have moons and stars and planets, and all of those, there's something going on. And all of that, and in those billions of planets, do you think somewhere there's life? Maybe there's some life of some shape. Maybe there's aliens of some forms everywhere else. So in all of that, where do we find God? Everywhere? Everywhere and nowhere. could be another dimension. This is just the visible dimension. Geez, who knows all those other dimensions? And maybe there's parallel universes happening at the same time. In all of that, is there a God that just is sitting around looking like this? No. So what's our God? What is God for us? And it's not God. So this is probably the first. So what's this? Ek Onkar. And how do we usually translate Ek Onkar? That there is one? So if you don't remember anything else from today's presentation, is let's stop saying there's just one God. Because when we say there's one God, we start thinking of this guy. What is Ek Onkar for us? Ek Onkar, you know when Guru Nanak said, who said this first of all? It was Guru Nanak, right? That said Ek Onkar. Where do you find this in the Guru Granth Sahib? The very first thing that's written in the Guru Granth Sahib. And in most of our Bani, it starts with this. Japji Sahib, we start with this. So this is Guru Nanak's message to the world. And was his message to the world, Rab Ek hai? Or Ek Rab hai? Because the word Rab was there. There's lots of words for God. What did he say? He said, Ek Onkar. Ek, the number one. Meaning there is just one. Everything is part of that one. All of Creator, all of creation, anything that's ever been made, everything in the universe, everything that's ever been made, destroyed, rebuilt, is all part of that one. There is only one. There is no God out there. There's no God in here. Everything is part of that one collective. And everything emanates from that one divine force. So, Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Nirankar Nirbkar Nilamb Ad Anil Anad Sam. Sorry, the Siddhi came up wrong there. But so Nirankar has no form. Nirbkar is sin. Nirlam has no place, has no single home. Ad Anil, the one that was there at the beginning, has no color, has no shape. Anad Sam, it has no beginning, it has no end, is unborn. This is Vaheguru for us. This is God for us. Our God isn't just one thing. Everything is God. So for us to say something's godless, it doesn't make sense for us because Kalak, Kalk me Kalak, Pureo Srabtain. This means Kalak is the creation, Kalk is the creator. So the creator is in the creation is in the creator. So this is the most beautiful thing, is that Vaheguru, whatever that force was, has created. Vaheguru was there before the world. So how many of you know what started the universe? What was that thing called? The Big Bang. So what was before the Big Bang? Maybe. What do we know was before the Big Bang? It was Vaheguru. Whatever form we want to call it, whatever name you want to call it, we can call it Ek Onkar. There was Ek Onkar. The Big Bang happened. The universe was created. And did Ek Onkar just sit there and watch the universe be created and sit there like watching a television show? It actually is in every part of the universe. So we're part of the universe. That means Vaheguru is part of the universe. So creator and creation are one and the same for us. So Vaheguru is the creator, but Vaheguru is also part of the creation and lives within the creation. So we think, you know how many of you say we have to find God? How many of you heard that expression? We have to find God and we have to go different places to look for God. So we think that we have to find God. We usually go to the top of a mountain. Isn't that a kind of place? How many of you have seen a sunset, a beautiful sunset on a beach, or you go to a mountain, or you go to a forest and you're surrounded by nature and you say, oh, I feel Vaheguru's presence here, right? Don't you have those moments? You had that? Where you sit there and you're like, this is so beautiful. Oh my God, this is nature. I'm one with nature. I'm one with Vaheguru. So does Vaheguru exist here? Yeah, Vaheguru's here. But does Vaheguru exist here in the dirtiest garbage dump in the world? Yes. Vaheguru's here too. Jabad kark kara kartara parjata tadeya para jaba kart ho kabhu melta detar sabhu. So the Vaheguru, when the Kartar is the creator, created all of the universe, it put itself in all of the different forms of the universe. So every different form. We can talk about the 84 lakh Junes we can talk about every animal, every creation, every element of the universe is part of Vaheguru. So do you realize every atom in your body right now, your body's made of cells. Cells are made of molecules. Inside the molecules, there's atoms in there of different elements. Every single one of those was created in the Big Bang. So how old is the universe now? I don't know, whatever, billions of years old. That's how old your body is. Because you came from the Big Bang. You came from that one spark that started the universe. You're connected to all of that. So Vaheguru, we're part of that. We're everywhere in the world where there is something that's Vaheguru. So does Vaheguru exist in every person? So somebody who's really cool, I picked a fictional person. So you think of somebody, somebody who's really good, is a superhero, is trying to do amazing things in the world. We say that person's, we call him a Gurmukh, we call him a Gursikh. We say it's an amazing person, and you know what? He's operating like God's operating through that person. So we think someone like Captain America has God, he's acting like God. No. He's what? He's fictional. But if he was a real person, he's kind of a good guy, right? He's a good guy. So he's a hero. We think he's got good qualities in him. So is God inside? Well, is God inside people like Captain America? Yes. Is God inside this guy? No? So who's this guy? So for Thanos, you guys know who he is. And what is he? He's like the ultimate evil. He's the ultimate super. What did you call it?
But he's trying to help the world by wiping out half the world.
That's a good way of helping the world. So interesting thing, does he have Vaheguru inside of him? Does the bully at your school have Vaheguru inside of him? Do the most horrible people in the world still have Vaheguru inside of them? It's locked. Who said that? It's locked away. They actually don't know that Vaheguru is inside of them. Right? Because we're all part of Vaheguru. E Srira Mereya, har tumme jyot rakhi, taan tu jag mein aaya, har jyot rakhi tudh vich, taan tu jag mein aaya, har ape mata, ape pita, jin jio pae, jagt dikhaya. Very good. So E Srira, what's Srir? Body. E Srira Mereya, my body. Har tumme, har is a word for Vaheguru. So let's not just say creator or Lord. Har is all pervasive. So we'll learn about these, that these words we use for Vaheguru are actually ways to describe Vaheguru. So har is something that's all pervasive, everywhere. That pervasive, har tumme jyot rakhi. What's jyot? Kende jyot jagoni? Anyone know what the jyot is? A what? A light. So, E Srira Mereya, my body, recognize that the jyot of Vaheguru, har tumme jyot rakhi, taan tu jag mein aaya. Jag means this world. So my body recognize, why am I here? How am I here? That light of Vaheguru is actually within me, is within every single one of us, and that's how we came into this world, because Vaheguru is in us. And then the last line, just in case you wonder, is God a man or a woman? You know, we kind of think of God as this, or well, not often we think of God as a woman, right? Har ape mata, ape pita. What's mata? Mother. Pita? Father. So Vaheguru is everything. Vaheguru is also our father. Vaheguru is also our mother. And Jina Jakt Dakaya, they're the ones that have revealed the world to us. This universe is their creation, and we're in that world. So the thing about, so do we think that God is a person up there? No. No, right? We think God is everywhere, all things. And we still have a hard time appreciating it because no one can actually describe Vaheguru. So the closest thing I've gotten to trying to say is, what is Ek Onkar? Ek Onkar is all one pervading force, one energy, the one thing that binds all of us together, that binds us to the universe, that binds us to the past, to the future, the thing that kind of permeates all of our existence. And so we like using the force. So it's not perfect at all, because the force is actually between living beings, but you know, anyone know who this guy is? Yeah, and who's this guy? Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? So Obi-Wan says this, the force surrounds us and penetrates us. It's the thing that binds the galaxy together. So thinking of, if you want to think of a way of starting to think about Vaheguru, the Force is a good way of starting to think about it. It is not perfect, and we're so much more than just a 30-year-old movie or 40-year-old movie. But starting to think of Vaheguru not as a person up there somewhere, but as this force, this life force that connects all of us together. It's really important, because if you start thinking about this not as a being, then what's this? Ek Onkar, say it with me, everyone knows this one. Ek Onkar, Satnam, Karta Purkh, Nirbhau, Akal Murt, Ajuni, Sapang, Gurprasad. So this is the first part of Mool Mantra, right? So these are words that describe Vaheguru, right? These are the words that describe Vaheguru, not as a person, but as this energy we tap into. It's something that we are connected with. So Ek Onkar is that one force. Satnam, what does Sat mean? Anyone know? Truth. Truth also, it also has two other meanings. It has another meaning, and this one's interesting. It means, Oh, Sat. Very good. 7. It also means 7. Not in this case. This case, it also means Jehdi cheez sada thir rehn wali in Punjabi, meaning that thing that is permanent. So, and what is Naam? What is Naam? We talk about Naam. Name. So what is a name? Why did my parents give me this name, Kulvir? To help, to what? This helps distinguish me from somebody else. This is my identity, right? Is my name. So Naam is the identity. So Naam, you can think, is identification. Is connecting with Vaheguru, is the identification with Vaheguru. So Satnam means identifying with those things that are permanent, connecting with those things that are permanent, those things that are truthful, those things that have always been with us will always be with us. So that's that attribute of Vaheguru, those things that are permanent. Another one is Karta Purkh. Karta is creator, Purkh is being. So this is the creative being. So Vaheguru is all creative. So who created the universe? Vaheguru. So it is the ultimate creative being. It is the most creative, artful, artistic force there. Nirbhau, with Nir means without, Pao is fear. Nir is without, Var is, what's literally a Var? Those of you who watch Punjabi movies, they say, Mera variya. Enemy, yes. So Nirvar means no enemies. So if you see Vaheguru in everything, if you see Vaheguru, everything you see is Vaheguru, and nothing is not Vaheguru, are you afraid of anything? Is anyone your enemy? Are you against anything? No, because you see the force with everybody. You see that Ek Onkar operating everyone. And then Vaheguru, does Vaheguru die? That's why Vaheguru is Akal. Kal means death. Akal means do not. Murt means the face. It's an undying being. And Ajuni means, June means cycles. You're going through cycles over and over again. Does Vaheguru go through cycles? Does Vaheguru be born, alive, die? No. So Vaheguru is beyond this. And Sapang means, it says self-illuminating, the light within. Also means sovereign and free. Does Vaheguru need anything support? No, we need Vaheguru support. But Vaheguru is all to itself. And to recognize Vaheguru, we'll talk about this in a minute, you need prasad, which is grace or kirpa of a guru. That's going to show you the way. Hanji? Oh, good question. So Vaheguru created everything. Who created Vaheguru? Who created Vaheguru? Him? Himself? I didn't know Vaheguru was a him. Remember? This is where language becomes important, guys, right? How we use these words. We keep saying he, him. Our translations keep using he, him. Pretty soon we think of God as a guy, right? So itself. So who created Vaheguru? Did anybody else create itself? No? Did anyone just beam down from nothingness? But where did aliens come from? There you go. So what's the one thing that we can say didn't come from anywhere else? That piece that is... So if you say, what happened before the Big Bang? Well, something happened. What happened before that, before that, before? But at the beginning, what was there when there was nothing else that you can say is that's Vaheguru? Which is why we'll never get it. So there is no answer to that question that I can give you. But that's actually the piece we're trying to connect with, that mystery of what is there when there was nothing. And what is there when there's everything? What's that link? That for us is that Vaheguru. Connection to that is that Naam. That's what I try to identify with, right? So... what about me? What about us? How do I fit into this whole thing? I showed you pictures of planets and stars and moons, and oh my God. And there's this little speck, which is actually the Earth, and on that is this little speck called Canada, and that little speck is, where are we, Waterloo or Kitchener? We're here in this Gurudwara, and in this, I'm this little speck right here. What about me? How do I fit into all of this? And how do I fit into this when there's all these other things in the world? How do we all fit into this? Right? We have everything from those things that are maybe on other planets, to little single cells, to insects, to dogs, to monkeys, to plants and animals, all of the creation, all these different forms of life. How did we fit into it? Well, is there a difference between these forms and us? There's a lot that's commonality. We probably share, I saw today, we share 65% of our DNA we share with a banana. And with the monkey, we probably share 99% of our DNA with a monkey. So when your parents call you a bandar, you can say, yeah, 99% of the way there, right? But what's that 1%? What's the difference between us and every other animal that we've met so far, aliens aside? What's the difference between us and a dog? Dogs? No, yeah. So animals, well, but there's animals with 2 legs. What's the difference between every other us and other animals with 2 legs? What does smarter mean? Because elephants are really smart. Pigs are supposed to be some of the smartest animals. I'll get to you in a sec. Yeah. We can eat meat and vegetables. I'm pretty sure some animals can do that too. Hanji? Yeah. Okay. But they can speak their language, right? So we can learn different dialects, different languages, but so can they in their language. We learn different versions. But good point. Over there? Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we can remember, we can make things. You're getting there. You had your hand up at the back? Evolution, but evolution is just a process. What have we evolved to that's not, that animals don't have? You had your hand up? I was going to say speech and tools. Speech and tools. So tools, but chimpanzees have been noticed to see tools as well. Yeah. And so of course we're much more refined, right? So here's a line that was there as he goes, any ape can reach for a banana, but only humans can reach for the stars. Right? So there's something different about us. There's something different between us and every other organism that we know of so far. So I'm going to put the aliens aside. Probably there's some really smart ones out there as well. But we're the only ones that are different. But we weren't the only ones. So here's another thing, is that most faiths, a lot of faiths and traditions, put humans as the top of the food chain. Right? The humans are the pinnacle of evolution. That we're the greatest organisms ever created, and we're the best there's ever been, ever will be, which is why we imagine God to look like us, or we to look like God, because we're actually as good as it gets. But the reality is we've evolved ourselves, right? Like you said, we've evolved. And there's been how many forms of the we're the Homo sapiens at the end there, but there's been other species of humans created. And funny enough, these actually, I mean, the adults here, I'm reading Sapiens right now, which is blow your way kind of book, but there's actually all of these coexisted. So it wasn't there were no Neanderthals when the humans came out. These actually coexisted at the same time. So it isn't that humans in our current form are the best there were others as well. So in all of that, we have to think about what makes us different than everybody else. And it's pretty simple. If I and an animal, we're 2 animals. What's your name again, Singh? Dilraj? Come here, Dilraj. Just stand up. This will be quick, don't worry. You gotta just show off your muscles for me. So we're walking, and we're 2 gorillas. Yeah. We're walking, and come here, and we're gonna bump into you. Right away, without thinking, what are we gonna do? We're gonna know each other, we'll hug, or we'll fight, or we'll run. But is there we just react. But now we're 2 guys walking down the street, and we don't know each other, we walk. And I do this, but what do we do before we act? If we're smart, if we're not acting like animals, what do we start in that second? What do we do? But before that, what do we? We think. We think. And we say, we process, we say, do I know this person? Do I know where he's from, what he's going? What's his intentions? Did he push me because is this guy just trying to get at me? Is he trying to pick on me? Is he a bully? Is he racist? Is it because of me? Is it something else? Is it something I said? Was I walking on the same side of the street? Oh my God, I'm in the wrong spot. I think 1,000 different things. Because for humans, between what we call stimulus, when something happens, and us responding, there's a little space in there. In that little space is we as humans think, and this is what makes us different than every other animal, is that we can think in that space. So I can decide whether to be nice to somebody. I can decide whether to be mean to somebody. I can decide to hurt somebody. I can decide to give, to be kind, in all those things. I can decide, whereas other animals are programmed. And they respond. They have different choices. But they're basically, when an animal is born, does an animal go to school? Give me 1 minute. Does an animal go to school? Most animals are actually pretty programmed. There's some social behavior, but animals are pretty programmed to live their life on their own. Hanji? Yeah.
Animal friendships, what about those?
Yeah.
There's like a leopard, it chose not to eat the cow.
It is. But 99 times out of 100, what's a leopard going to do? Eat it. Right? But here's a good question is, are we like animals sometimes? Yes, we're probably like animals most of the time. When you put out a big bowl of M&Ms after I've had dinner and I'm just stuffed, what do I do without even thinking? Eat it. Ah. What does a mouse do when he sees cheese? Eat it. Even if, and I remember, how many of you have ever had a fish? Yeah, we have a fish right now. How many seeds of, how much can we give it every day? 6 little dane of food. What happens if we give it more? Does it just leave it there and say, no, I'll come back to it tomorrow? It eats it. Now, what if I dump the whole thing of food in there? What's it going to do? And what is it going to do? Yeah. So I'm generalizing here, but the cool thing about us human beings is we have the ability to dream. Does an animal lie there and say, oh, I think I want to go to Disney World next year? For lions, of course, right? Or I might go to, I wonder what's on the other side of that mountain. I'm going to go there and check it out and explore. Let's go for fun. No. So there's a difference between us and animals. And we've been given this freedom to grow, to do things differently, to pursue our destiny. Give me a second here. But the problem of this is that it also does this to us. It gives us choices. And when we have choices, we have these little, people think of them as angels, and maybe some of you guys that grew up in little cartoons, they had this, like, when the person was, cartoons faced with a dilemma, a little thing pops up on her shoulder, a little angel here and a little devil here, and the angel's like, no, don't do it, that's going to be bad, don't steal, don't take that, and the devil's like, do it, nobody's going to know, just take it. How many of you kind of had those voices inside your head sometimes? What happens when you see money? Sometimes you see money, what happens when you see like a $20 bill on the road? What are the voices that pop in your head with the $20? What does the guy on that side tell you to do? Take it and do what with it? Spend it on what? Whoa. You better check your huh? Yeah, scam candy, all that stuff. And what does the other one say? Don't take it. Mokum, what are we always getting? What am I always saying when you find money? What should we do with it? Mata take it, right? We say give it to somebody who needs it, or find out who owns it to give it back. But we all have these voices inside of us. We all have them inside. And actually, you know what? In Punjabi, we say this too. Have any of your parents ever called you a shaitan? Bada shaitani ga raha, right? Shaitan. You know what shaitan comes from? Anyone know what the word shaitan comes from? Satan. Shaitan, Satan. You little devil you. We see that, you little devil you. So for us, this is interesting to note. For Sikhs, devils aren't something that are out there, and angels aren't something that's out there. The angel's inside of us, the devil's inside of us. The saint is inside of us, the thief is inside of us. The Thanos is inside of us, and the Captain America is all within us. It all depends on what we choose to do. So what that means is if I'm part of Vaheguru, and I get to ask these questions, what are the kinds of questions we should be asking? What are the kind of questions when we're sitting there on the mountaintop thinking about our existence? People ask you, where did you come from? So we already answered that one. Where did we come from? Who were we part of? Vaheguru. And what are we here to do? What's our purpose in life? To eat as much ice cream as we can? How about get as many Pokemon cards as possible? No. How about to own every Nintendo Switch game? No? How about to have every race car, drive every race car in the world? How about to visit every country in the world? How about to make as much money as possible? Yeah? No? Yeah? But that's what we do. No, thank you for being honest. That's what most of us spend our life thinking our dream is. Our goals in life are to get as much as we can, right? To acquire as much as we can. What are we most proud of? We're proud of our education, how many degrees we get. We're proud of how big or fancy our house is. We're proud of how fancy our clothes are. We're also proud of, I'm proud of the car I drive. You guys, we all proud of different things. You're not proud of your car? You are proud of your car. That's why you're not, yeah. We all have this. But is that the purpose of our existence? Or are those means, those are ways, those are distractions on the way to get there? So what is our purpose? Guru Ramdas has this line. Man tu jot saroop hai, apna mool pashan, man harji tere naal hai, gurmati rang maan. So this is such a beautiful shabd. This is one of my favorite shabds because it actually connects you. It tells you, man, what is man? Anyone know? Mind, man to jot. We talked about jot before. Jot is light. To jot saroop hai. Saroop is the form. My mind, recognize, tu jot saroop hai. The ultimate saroop. You are the ultimate form. You come from Vaheguru. Apna mool pashan. Pashanna, which is pashanni is to recognize it. And mool, anyone know? We say mool mantar, but what is mool? Root. Mool is actually principle. Mool and vyaj, right? You say when you invest something, you get vyaj, you get interest. So mool is the essence. So, oh my mind, recognize that you have Vaheguru in you. This is your purpose, to recognize that. So this is really powerful because how many of us feel really bad sometimes when we do something wrong, right? And we feel guilty, we feel shameful. Sometimes really bad things happen to us. Sometimes really bad things happen to children, or we do really bad things in life, and we say, I'm not worthy, right? And certain faiths, certain traditions say somebody is unredeemable. In Sikhi, is Vaheguru in everybody? So can everyone find Vaheguru? So can even the worst people in the world one day maybe wake up and realize that Vaheguru is inside them? Because why? Because that jot is in you. But what do you need? Question? You still have to live, you still have to pay for your deeds, but you can still repent. So in Sikhi, before you change your actions, you have to change your thinking. So this is about changing the way you think about the world. This is changing about your relationship with the world. So you may have done bad things that you have to account for. That doesn't mean you get a clean shit, right? You can't just say every day, oh, Machori and Kadling, everything's good, but today I'm a good guy, so don't punish me for anything I did before, if only. But what this means is that it doesn't matter what's been done to you. It doesn't matter what you've done with your life. It doesn't matter what happened in all your past lives, which we spend sometimes debating. It doesn't matter what you've done up to this point. This is Guru Tegh Bahadur's Bani is so beautiful about this. He says, now's the time, in this moment, you can connect with Vaheguru. But what did you recognize? Man harji tere naal hai. Vaheguru is with you. So you don't need to be going to mountaintops looking for Vaheguru. Vaheguru is right here, right now. So what are we here to do? Our purpose in life. This is from Radas. Pei prapat manak de hariya gobind miln ki e teri bariya. So pei prapat, this body, you've been given manak de hariya. We've been given this beautiful body, this intellect, this brain, this 10 pounds of gray matter between our ears that no other organism on earth has. The ability to say, I exist. The ability to contemplate Vaheguru. And in this moment, in this time, I'm actually here to recognize that I can meet Gobind Miln ki e teri bariya. I can meet Vaheguru here and now. So our purpose in life isn't to, the aim of life, according to a gurus, is not to get to salvation or a heavenly abode called paradise. It's to develop the best within us, which is actually Vaheguru. It's to find Vaheguru within us. That's our goal in life. Our goal in life is to live like Vaheguru. Our goal in life is not to worry about what happens afterwards, whether if we're going to go to a heaven or a hell. Because if your life is like heaven here, if your life is like hell here, it really doesn't matter what you're going to find before. If you're living a life where every moment of your life you're tormented and it's full of pain and suffering, in the next life things aren't going to get any better. Whatever may happen before, it is here and now. The heaven and hell exist in this plane. And we meet people, we know people. We all have moments in our life which are like heaven for us, when we're connected to something bigger than ourselves, when we feel Vaheguru in our lives. And there's also moments in our life where we don't feel Vaheguru, when we're acting on our own urges, our own temptations, our own desires. That's hell here, right now. So here's the beautiful thing. Why are we trying to meet God? Why are we trying to find God? And actually, what is the way to do that? And this is the most beautiful thing. Har jan aisa chahiye, jaisa har hi hoye. Har jan, har is Vaheguru. Jan is a servant of Vaheguru. Jaisa har hi hoye. So the servant of Vaheguru, somebody who falls in love with Vaheguru, becomes like Vaheguru. So our goal in life is not to find Vaheguru. Our goal in life is actually to become like Vaheguru, to have Vaheguru operate within us. So why do we sing Vaheguru's praises? You know, we have all these shabds we sing, and we should do Barney all day. We should sing the praises of Vaheguru. So Sadhu, Gobind ke gun gao. Sing the praises of Vaheguru. If you're there, Sikhi to the max, it's always praises of Vaheguru, praises of God, praises of the Creator. Why do we sing the praises of God? Does God have such a big ego? He says, praise me, tell me how good I am again. You know, there's people, we know people like that, right? They're always like, tell me how good I am. Tell me again. They're always fishing for a compliment. Is that Vaheguru? Are we singing Vaheguru's praises because Vaheguru has such a big inferiority complex they need to be praised all the time? No. We sing Vaheguru's praises because we want to be like Vaheguru. We sing about Vaheguru. We sing about all the beautiful aspects of Vaheguru so we can become like Vaheguru ourselves. So this, you know, the two things I want you to get away. One is Eko Onkar means there is just one, Creator and creation. And this Mool Mantra is not describing that Vaheguru out there, but if we're part of Vaheguru, what is this? This is actually us. This is what we can be. So we can identify with those things that are permanent and truth. We become Nirpao, Nirvar. We become these sources of creation in every aspect of our existence. We become fearful. Death has no relevance to us because we see something much bigger. We become beyond birth and death. We become Akal, which you could say is consistent. So we don't go up and down with the fashions of the day. We're always timeless. We connect with those things that are timeless. We become Sapang, meaning we become like Vaheguru. We don't need the support of others. We're the ones that are generating the wisdom from within. We're the ones that are illuminated from within, and we get there through Gur Prasad. So Mool Mantra is not a description of what Vaheguru or God is out there. It's actually a description of what we're trying to become in our lives. It's actually Guru Nanak's manifesto that everyone can live a life of Mool Mantra. Everyone can bring these things into their life. And not just these, all these words we have for Vaheguru. And Vaheguru is just one word. It's our Guru Mantra. But all these words, Hari, Nirgun, Sargun, Kartar, Asra, Adar, Gobind, Gopal, Ram, Nirankar, Nirlep, Niranjan, Antarjami, Sache Pasha, Vaheguru. These are all names we have for God. But they're attributes of God. They describe different parts of Vaheguru. And we sing these praises, we use these attributes so that those actually become attributes that come into our lives. So we become a nourisher. We become a supporter. Gobind, we become, Gopal actually is the cool one. Go is the world. Pal is the sustainer, the one that takes care of things. So we're the ones that take care of the world. We become Nirankar. We transcend these things. So we sing these praises of Vaheguru. We use these words of Vaheguru because we want to become like Vaheguru. So we have this in us. We all want to become like Vaheguru, but why is it so hard? What's stopping us from becoming like Vaheguru? Maya. What's Maya? Yeah.
When you go to the store, you see like this new thing, you want it. Everyday things, you just want.
Yeah. Absolutely. So when a baby's born, what's the first thing it does? Cries. Why does it cry? Because it's scared. What does it need? What does a baby need right when it's born? What's the first thing? Air, because it's never breathed before. It needs oxygen all of a sudden. And then what does it need? It needs some kind of comfort. It needs attention. It needs love. It needs touch. But then it gets hungry. And then what does it need? It needs food. And then it gets a little bit older. And then it needs a car. Then it needs Pokemon cards. Then it has to have an iPad. Then it has to have this. I can't live without this. And what ends up happening? It was pretty soon, our needs, our wants, our desires all start mixing up. And it becomes I, or we need this. It becomes about us. And how many of you have ever had anything taken from you at school? Stolen from you at school? Why did somebody take it away? Because why couldn't they have just let you have it and played with it whatever they wanted? Because they wanted it for them? Because they were thinking from an I. It was all about them. And they separated themselves from you. And you could have maybe shared with them, or maybe you didn't. And they said, well, I'm just going to take it. Right? So what would have we done? We start creating these separations. So Guru Nanak talks about this in Japji Sahib. And you guys, hopefully you've all done this. Give sachiara hoye, give kude tutte pal, hukam rizai chalna, nanak likhya nal. So pal is a kand, is a wall. Kood is, anyone know what kood is? Dirt. It's like rubbish, garbage. So what have we done? We've created these walls, these false walls, these fake walls between us and everybody else. So I think that's mine. That's not my brother's. That's mine, not his. What's his is his, and mine's mine. Actually, what's his is mine, and what's mine's mine. Sometimes, right? So we create these separations between me and you, and then we also separate us from Vaheguru. So we create these walls all around our lives. So we don't start thinking like Eko Ankar, we don't start thinking like one. We actually start thinking like two or many, or Dubada as we say, right? You get that duality in your life. We start thinking of different things. So how do Guru Nanak says, that's what the world we're all stuck in. So how do I change? How do I become satyar? How do I become true? How do I break this wall? And the answer is Hukam Razai Chalna Nanak Likhanal. Living in Hukam, understanding the way the world is, and living in that flow is how you find Vaheguru. So for Sikhs, how do we find Vaheguru? What's a way, what's a tool, or what's a person or a thing that's been given to us to help us find Vaheguru? Yes. Who gave us Simran? Guru Nanak Dev Ji, our Guru. So anyone can anyone read this for me? Ekonkar Satgur Prasad. This is the most common phrase in all of Guru Granth Sahib. This comes into Guru Granth Sahib over 500 times. And we just read it and we go on to the rest of the Shabd. But there's a reason it's there 500 times. Because in this is actually the answer. In this is all of Sikhi contained in one phrase. Eko Ankar Satgur Prasad. That there is one all-pervasive force that we've talked about that binds the entire universe together. There are certain individuals, certain gurus who have recognized, who have connected with the essence of this truth. And Prasad, through their grace, through a connection with them, through an affiliation with this true guru, I can actually realize this Eko Ankar. So this is Sikhi in a phrase. Eko Ankar Satgur Prasad. So what is a guru? What's the definition of a guru? Anyone know? It's two parts, right? What's gu? Creator and creation. No, not that one. What's guru? What are the two parts? Teacher is what we call it. Yeah, we can have the guru can be a teacher. Hanji. Light and dark. So which part's what's gu? Dark, and ru is right, just like it's getting dark in here. Guru. So guru is somebody who takes you from darkness to light. Somebody who takes from ignorance to knowledge. So like a teacher that shows you the way, it takes you from one side to the other. It also takes you from dependency to self-reliance. So anyone know who this guy is? Oh, you guys are quick. What's he doing now? He's trying out for a soccer team. But what is he usually known for? He's the world's fastest man. So is running the 100-meter sprints, is that a team activity or is that a single activity? So it's individual, right? Do you think he just got up one day and said, I'm going to be the fastest guy in the world, and just started running and made it to the Olympics one day? No. What did he have to do? Practice. He had to train. Now, did he train just by himself? Did he just go out there and say, I know what I need. I don't need anybody's help. I'm just going to make it happen? No. What did he have? He had a coach. He had a coach. And so this guy's never in the picture. But behind him was a coach. And what is the coach's job? Train. So is a coach always a nice guy? Is a coach is she sometimes hard on you? Does a coach kind of make you do things that you don't understand? That you don't want to do? Yeah? We watched, what movie did you watch yesterday, Malcolm? Karate Kid. Anyone see Karate Kid, the original one? This is a great movie, right? What's Mr. Miyagi's job? He's Daniel's coach, right? And what does he make him do? Anyone watch it? Wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. He makes him paint, he makes him wax, he makes him do all these things that are driving him crazy. He doesn't know why he's doing them, but yet he trains him into a karate artist, right? So a coach is somebody who sees more potential in you than even you see in yourself and help you win the game. And without a coach, it's really, really hard to do it yourself. So in a sport, you need a coach. But what about in life? Do we need a coach in life? And we have coaches in life. We have teachers. We have people, there actually are career coaches. There's life coaches out there. But if we want to play the ultimate game of life and death, of connecting with Waheguru, we need a coach. And so who's our coach? We want to connect with Waheguru, but who's our coach? Our gurus. Our guru. And our guru in its, how many gurus do we have? We had 10 physical gurus, living gurus. How many gurus do we have today? I'll push on this one. What do we actually have? We have one jot in all of the gurus. But what are we say there's Guru Granth Sahib. So there's the Guru Granth, but there's also the Guru Panth. We forget about this. The Guru is actually in two forms. There's the Granth and the Panth. And the Granth is doing his job, but is the Panth doing his job? We'll talk about that later. So a Guru is our coach. And a Guru does amazing things. The coolest thing a Guru does is he transforms. A Guru transforms us so we can transform reality. Anyone know what this is? A little sparrow to a hawk. Right? That Guru Gobind Singh Ji turned us from sparrows into hawks. He transformed our entire existence. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji said to all the slaves, we were slaves before the Gurus came around. And they said, rise and fight and die fighting on horseback. It's an oceanic burst of the glow of life that is of Waheguru. It is more glorious to die than live as miserable wretches. Guru poured into our veins that life that could not love without song and freedom. We rose as individuals and masses shouting for liberty and victory. Guru gave us freedom of the soul, and we cried for the freedom of our life. We died for this freedom, never mind if we got it or not. Touched by the Guru's inspiration, we can no longer remain slaves. Sad Sri Akal. So our Gurus made us free. In every realm, our Gurus freed us from our caste. Gurus freed us from our gender. Gurus freed us from our economic hardships. In every realm, our Gurus provided freedom because they transformed us and allowed us to transform our realities. But how do they do this? What's our relationship between us and our Guru, between you and your coach? Can you just tell the coach what you want to do and say, I'm going to do some things, I'm not going to do certain things? If you're on a team and you say, coach says, I need you to be here for 7 a.m. practice, and you're like, nah, main 10 baje aaunga. Are you going to be on that team very long? No. If the coach says, I need you to run 30 times around the outside, and you're like, nah, main 5 kawari kar lena. Right? Or if the coach says, we're going to do this, this, and this, and you're like, I'd rather do this, this, and this. No. What do you need? You need to listen to your coach. You need to submit to your coach. And so for us, the irony is that our freedom actually comes through submission. Our azadi actually comes through becoming a slave. So our Gurus cut away all of our slaveries to the world. But what we did, we bound ourselves to the Guru. So without the Guru, there's no internal wisdom. The mind is a bowl that collects the thoughts and opinions of others like a beggar. I've collected so many thoughts that people think I'm a scholar and give me accolades. So we go out and we get education from lots of different places. We read all these books. We quote all these smart people like I love doing. But I've just collected other people's thoughts, none of my own. And when I bowed my head to the Guru, like we bow when we matha take, he said, I stunk with the filth of others. All I've been doing is collecting other people's bad deeds. Told me to empty my bowl, clean it, shine it, and fill it with Nam. So we have to bring ourselves to the Guru. So if we're full of manmat, what is mat? Mat is wisdom, man is mind, versus gurmat. If we spend our life chasing our mind, whatever our mind tells us to do, to eat this, to buy that, we're not going to get close to Guru. But as soon as we make Guru the center of our lives, things change. And we become a vehicle for the Guru. So, as long as I had not seen my beloved, I was terribly active, as all volcanoes are. I robbed others of their life, their labor, love, their mind, and their soul. But now I believe in digging in my own heart and sinking deeper and deeper in the sea of myself. I lie prone where my Guru leaves me. I rise when my Guru raises me. I am both my Guru's sword and my Guru's reed flute. So we submit ourselves to the Guru. So the Guru says it's time to sing the praises of Vaheguru. We get up early in the morning and we do Asakivar. And the Guru sings, it's time now to conduct Kadakal. We have to fight for our freedom and the freedom of others. I pick up a sword and I fight in battle. Guru says it's time to feed the hungry. We get up and we feed the hungry. It's time to give away all your possessions to those that need it more. We do that as well. So for us, this is all coming from that same connection to Vaheguru with the love of Guru in our hearts. And this is the connection to Ek Onkar that brings into us. So all of these things, what are we call them our 3 golden rules? Naam Japo, Kirta Karo, Vanshako, are actually our Guru's instructions to us. So our certain coaches tell you to do certain drills. You have to learn certain defensive plays, offensive plays for any sport you're playing to get better at it. Think of these, this is our playbook. These are the things we have to do. So we have to bring Barney into our lives. We have to bring Simran into our lives, Kirtan in our lives. We need to have our responsibilities, our dharma. We need to take action and show initiative. We need to live a life of a householder. We need to be doing seva. We need to be sharing our wealth. Hanji.
How about your coaches saying to do something wrong?
Yeah, very good idea. Very good question. So there's in Barney, there's a guru and there's a Satguru. So Sat means truthful, right? So before you take on a coach, do you guys check out the coach first? Do you see how many times what teams have won? Have they actually won the game? Have they actually helped people get better? You speak to former players and say, hey, how is that coach? And you'll be like, don't play for that guy. He's horrible. He's evil. He's mean. He actually isn't looking out for you. He's only looking out for himself. There's lots of those kind of gurus in the world. But our guru, we're lucky. We have a guru who's become perfect in their own lives. And the gurus became perfect. So the gurus had all the same temptations we did, but they actually became perfect in that time, and they helped connect us to that perfection. So these 2 things actually come together, and I'm almost wrapping up here. So 2 things, and I want you to understand that we say these words at the same time, and they actually are really cool because they're 2 sides of the same coin. So what's this person on the left doing? Simran. And what's the person on the right doing? Seva. Are these different in the eyes of the Guru? How are they the same? If I'm thinking about Ek Onkar, I'm going to ask if I'm thinking about Ek Onkar, what's the left and the right? Both doing the same thing. If Ek Onkar is within me, I'm doing Simran too, to realize Ek Onkar actually operates within me. I'm doing Simran every morning because I want to realize that I am that Jyot of Ek Onkar. So I spend that hour, whatever time I can, on Simran, on meditation, on reflection within. So we don't need to go on pilgrimages outside. We go on the pilgrimage within to connect with Vaheguru. But that's just one part of Vaheguru. What about Vaheguru's creation? If Ek Onkar exists in everything, and Ek Onkar operates through the people that need help, is Seva also not a form of worshipping Ek Onkar? Right? So an hour of Simran and an hour of Seva might actually be the same thing. Now it depends why you do it. If I'm doing these things so I can take a selfie and tell the world, humble brag as we like saying, about how good I am, that has no place in the Guru's heart. But if I'm doing these things because I see Ek Onkar in myself and I see Ek Onkar in every person in the world that's hurting, and I'm helping them, that for us is Seva and Simran. And then the other side, Barna and Barni. Don't we still think Barni and Barna, we reflect on both of those? Both of those are also part of the Guru's path. So you think of a tree, the Barna is the fruit on the tree, right? You can see the fruit and you can say, wow, that's beautiful, tasty, sweet fruit. And we love saying that with, look at that so-and-so's dastar. Oh, don't they look really good in their Barna? They look like a true Gursikh on the outside. But if a tree is not very strong, what's going to happen to the fruit one day? The fruit's going to break off. And if you don't have strong roots, you don't have strong trunk, you don't have strong leaves, what's going to happen to the tree? It's going to fall over. It's going to die. So our roots are our Shabd Guru. Our roots are our Bani. So if all we have is our Bana and we don't have the Bani to connect us with our Guru, one day the fruit is going to fall off. The stars are going to get old. They're going to get worn out. That chola is going to go away. That kripan is going to get rusty. And if we don't have the Bani, there's going to be no way to replace it. There's going to be no way to rejuvenate it. So this Bana and Bani, these terms we throw out there are not loose. There's a connection there that we need to think about. And tying all of this together is Sangat. Sangat is the ultimate peer pressure. What happens if you hang out with a bunch of kids that play soccer all day? What do you want to do eventually? Yes, and if all the friends are watching Teen Titans right now and you're the only one not watching Teen Titans, how long before you start watching it? Yeah, and you go watch a movie. You do all the things around it. So the type of people you hang out with are the type of people you become. So Sangat is actually peer pressure. So Sangat could be Madi Sangat. You find bad people and they get you to do bad things, or it could be Satsang, people who get you to do amazing things. So finding Sangat in your life is really important. And let me end with this one now. We're getting close. So what is this again? Ek Onkar. Where's Vaheguru? Is there anything that's not Vaheguru? No. Why do I sing the praises of Vaheguru? Because I want to be like Vaheguru. Where is Vaheguru? Is Vaheguru inside me? Yes. So Ek Onkar is everything. We are a part of Ek Onkar. We want to connect with Ek Onkar. And the way to do that for us is what's the vehicle, what's the tool we have to connect with? Vaheguru is our Guru. So in conclusion, so often at these, not this camp, but many camps, all of the focus, and even our community, all the focus is, do you look like a Sikh? Often we say, that kid, he does all these bad things, right? And we're very happy with that. They look like Sikhs. But if that's all we're focused on, it's like the tree with the fruit on it. Before you look like a Sikh, we better learn to act like Sikhs. Because if we're not going to act like Sikhs, then the difference between how we act and the world is going to call us out on it, and we're not going to be able to do that for very long. Before you act like a Sikh, though, we have to learn to think like Sikhs. That Babek Mat is something we need to cultivate in our lives. Because if you think like a Sikh, can you start acting on it and then eventually look like it. But if you're not going to, Sikhi is not just of the head. Before you can think like a Sikh, you have to learn to love like a Sikh. And loving like a Sikh means you see Ek Onkar in everybody. You show compassion and mercy for everything around you. You treat everything not as a stranger. There's a saying that a stranger is a friend I just haven't met yet. Right? We treat everyone as part of our Sangat. We learn from everyone. We share with everyone. We don't was it Vandake Shako or Shakke Vando? Vandake Shako. So share what you have with others and then be happy with what's left. What do? We eat as much as we can, and then there's a few crumbs left, and we're like, lelo, right? That's not Ek Onkar. That's not Seva. Vandake Shakana. And why do we say love? Because this is the game of life. Any of you play the game of life? It's a fun game. Even the adults have played it. Kids play it. So we're playing the game of life. But our game of life is actually called the game of love. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Sach kaho, sun leo sabe, jin prem ki ho, ten hi prapaya. Let me tell this to the world, to anyone who wants to understand the truth of this game. Jin prem kiyo te ni prapaya. If you want to realize Ek Onkar and Prabhu into your life, and you need to operate from a point of love, not from a point of fear, not from a point of guilt. So if you're keeping your hair, you're doing your part, you're doing kirtan, you're coming to the Gurdwara because you're afraid of what might happen to you if you don't do it, or you feel guilty because if you don't do it, what might happen to you? That's not where the Guru operates. Guru operates from a point of love. So how do we, hopefully over the rest of this day now, as we finish up the camp, you're going to spend the day here, we're going to go to lunch soon, but you spend the time figuring out how to fall in love with Sikhi. So if you fall in love with Bani, you fall in love with Kirtan, you fall in love with your Nityanem, you fall in love with your Simran, you fall in love with helping other people. That's where Vaheguru operates. The language of God is not English or Punjabi or Arabic or Dag. The language of Vaheguru is love. Last word to you. Thank you very much. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.